At T0, we hit the brake. Earth stops spinning. The clock starts, and it never stops. Right now, you're moving at 1,674 kilometers per hour, faster than a bullet. You just can't feel it, because everything around you is moving at the same speed. The air, the ocean, the ground beneath your feet. All of it locked in a silent agreement to spin together. But at T0, the ground breaks that agreement. It stops, and everything else doesn't. T+1 second, you were now a projectile. Launched eastward at 465 meters per second, Mach 1.37. Faster than a 9mm bullet. And you're not alone. Every person, every car, every building, every tree, everything not fused to bedrock is now moving at supersonic speed relative to the ground. The atmosphere doesn't stop either. 1,674 km/h winds hit the surface. That's 4.8 times the strongest tornado ever recorded. The friction between air and ground generates enough heat to ignite forests. Cities don't collapse, they shred. T+30 seconds, the oceans are moving, not waves. The entire ocean, all 1.335 billion cubic kilometers of it, is sloshing eastward like water in a car that just slammed the brakes. Tsunamis hundreds of meters tall race across every coastline. T+1 hour, the winds are still supersonic at the equator. Slower near the poles, but even at 60 degrees latitude, they're blowing at 837 kilometers per hour, 5 times hurricane force. The surface of the planet has been scoured. Nothing above ground level is still standing. But here's where it gets strange. Because the immediate catastrophe, the winds, the tsunamis, the fire, that's just the first chapter. T+24 hours. For the first time in 4.5 billion years, Earth is no longer turning beneath the sun. A full day-night cycle now takes 365 days, one entire orbit. The sun crawls across the sky so slowly you could watch it for a week and barely notice it moving. Each point on the surface gets roughly 6 months of unbroken daylight, then 6 months of total darkness. The sunlit side begins to bake. Temperatures climb past 100 degrees Celsius. Oceans boil in the shallows. The dark side plunges to minus 120 degrees. Entire seas freeze solid from the surface down. And between them, a narrow strip of eternal twilight, the Terminator Zone, the only place on Earth where temperatures are remotely survivable. But it's not fixed. It migrates slowly as Earth orbits the sun. T+1 week. The oceans have started migrating. See, Earth isn't a perfect sphere. It never was. Rotation created an equatorial bulge. The planet is 21 kilometers wider at the equator than pole to pole. Without spin, that bulge starts to flatten. And the water that was held at the equator by centrifugal force? It flows toward the poles. Over weeks and months, the new map takes shape. A massive equatorial megacontinent emerges. Land that used to be ocean floor, now exposed. And 2 enormous polar oceans swallow everything above 50 degrees latitude. Canada, Europe, Russia, Scandinavia, underwater. T+1 year. The weather system you knew is gone. The Coriolis effect, the force that creates hurricanes, jet streams, trade winds, ocean currents, it doesn't exist anymore. Without rotation, there's no Coriolis. Weather collapses into a single enormous convection cell. Hot air rises on the sunlit side, flows to the dark side, sinks, and returns along the surface. No more cyclones, no more seasons, just one slow, brutal circulation. And something else is failing, something you can't see. Earth's magnetosphere is generated by the dynamo effect, liquid iron in the outer core, churning and spinning, organized by the Coriolis force. No rotation, no Coriolis, no dynamo. The magnetic field begins to decay. Not instantly, but the process has started. T+1000 years. The magnetosphere has largely collapsed. And without it, the solar wind, the same stream of charged particles that the magnetic field used to deflect, now hits the atmosphere directly. Particle by particle, it strips the air away. The same thing that happened to Mars, which lost its magnetic field 4 billion years ago, and then lost its atmosphere, and then lost its oceans. Earth is becoming Mars. But now, something you wouldn't expect. Even at this point, life isn't completely gone. Deep in the ocean, near hydrothermal vents, organisms that never needed sunlight, never needed the surface, continue unaware that the sky is gone. Kilometers underground, extremophile bacteria survive in rock, feeding on radiation and chemistry. They don't care that the planet stopped. And on the surface, in the narrow migrating band of the Terminator, something might survive, not us, not cities, but something small, something stubborn. You might also notice one tiny, ironic detail. You weigh more now. Not much, about 0.35% more. Centrifugal force used to make you slightly lighter at the equator. Without it, a 70-kilogram person gains about 245 grams. The planet took everything and gave you 1/4 of a kilogram. The clock reads T plus 5 billion years. The timer finally stops, not because Earth started spinning again, but because the sun expanded into a red giant and swallowed it whole. The clock was always counting down to this. We just didn't know the number. So, what would you do if you had 60 seconds before the spin stopped? Drop your survival plan in the comments. And if you want to keep drifting through scenarios like this, the subscribe button is right there. Keep drifting.